On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Sir David Greenaway, to address Convocation.
Chancellor Cowan, Vice-Chancellor Chakma, thank you for this great honour. Thank you for making me a member of this great family. Professor Bolus, thank you for the warmth and generosity of your comments and reminding me of that first day on that last life cycle. And graduates, thank you for allowing me to be part of your ceremony. This is your day, a very special day for you, a very special day for your friends and family who are here to support you. And I feel privileged in sharing this day with you. I think Western University admitted its first students in 1881. As it happens, that's the year that Nottingham admitted its very first students. So both universities are getting on for 140 years old, which when you think about it, it's pretty impressive. But actually neither is the oldest in their respective countries. So just last Tuesday, I was at University of Cambridge in the UK. It dates itself from 1209. That's not even the oldest in Europe, let alone in the world. Scholars date the oldest university in the world as Al-Qarawiyyin in Morocco from 859. Why am I telling you this? It speaks to the astonishing, enduring qualities of universities. Because when you think about it, there aren't many institutions that endure for so long. If you compare it with the corporate world, by the time many of you are 40, about 1/3 of the S&P 500 big corporates, the biggest corporates in the biggest economy in the world, will have disappeared, gone forever. Yet here we have these amazing institutions that endure for as long as they do. Now, why is that? Well, many of you do management studies. You'll be familiar with the kind of notion of an enduring value proposition, and universities have just that. They're places of transformation. You come, we help transform you. Our researchers engage in fundamental and translational research that changes, that transforms the world around us. And if you think of the disruption in the broadest sense that's taken place over the centuries, civil, military, technological dislocation, our universities still endure and still adapt. We're in a world of very rapid change at the moment. There is no halt to the globalization process. Technological change has never been so slow. And I don't mean that in a frivolous sense. And these are challenges that will define your lives, your generations. And I think you're very well prepared, actually, to meet those challenges, partly because as social scientists, you're used to dealing with complexity and ambiguity, and partly because, actually, there's never been a better time for the social sciences in the world in which we lived. You can't imagine dealing with some of the great challenges like energy security, like food security, without an emphasis on behavior and changing behavior. So whatever you do, I do wish you well in meeting those challenges. And if I could offer just a few words of advice, I think they'd be along the following lines. First, you obviously have high standards. You wouldn't be at a university like this were that not the case. Maintain those high standards. Be bold, be ambitious. Remember the words of the great American civil rights icon, Rosa Parks, the lady who in Montgomery, Alabama in 1953 refused to give up her seat for a white man. And when she was asked afterwards, how did you have the courage to do that? Her words were, when you know what has to be done, the fear goes away. So be bold, be ambitious. Secondly, be resilient, be prepared to take risks. If you're going to be bold, you have to take risks. And if you take risks, sometimes you will fail. And failure is not always a very comfortable thing to have to deal with, but actually it's an essential thing to have to deal with because you can't make progress without it. So in those moments, remember the words of the great Irish playwright, Samuel Beckett. Ever tried? Ever failed? No matter. Try again. fail again, fail better. Thirdly, as well as being bold and resilient, actually be very determined, apply yourself relentlessly, work hard. There isn't a successful person I have met in any walk of life that doesn't have that particular characteristic. They apply themselves relentlessly. It doesn't mean to say they can't have a family life or a social life, but they stay very focused. As Indira Gandhi put it, there are two kinds of people: those that work hard and deliver, those that take the credit. Try and be in the first group. There's much less competition. And then fourthly, and this speaks to what our Chancellor said in his opening remarks, always retain a degree of humility. Always be prepared to listen and learn. Always be prepared to look at yourself in the mirror, to reflect on the position of others. Even if you conclude that your position is the right position, always be prepared to listen. One of my great countrymen, Robert Burns, wrote the words, "A wood some power the gift to gears to see ourselves as others see us." Be reflective. And then finally, and I think this is an easy message for your generation, always set out to give more than you take. Whether it's a business transaction, whether it's a personal transaction. Because if you do that, you're always going to come out ahead. As maybe our greatest Prime Minister in the UK, Sir Winston Churchill, put it, we make a living by what we get, we make a life by what we give. And yours is a very giving generation. You care about the sustainability of our communities. You care about the sustainability of our economies. You care about exclusion. You care about inequality. So please be prepared to give back. And finally, do, in that regard, remember your university and think about whatever you're doing next, whether it's in business, whether it's in public services, whatever it is, think about ways in which you can support the students that follow you here. And that might be by volunteering to be an e-mentor. It might be by actually helping with scholarship support. Whatever it is, there are ways in which you can help. So let me close by saying it's a real privilege to have received this award from a university I first visited in 1991, a university I've admired greatly, an economics department admired greatly. It kind of finishes off a Canada week for me, because on Saturday night, I was at the Isle of Wight Festival watching Arcade Fire, one of your current great exports. It was a wonderful experience. This is even more wonderful. Thank you for listening.